When we arrived, we encountered multiple victims that were injured with injuries consistent with burns and other injuries. So I've been in contact with our local FBI multiple times. We are in contact with them here. We are not calling it a terror attack at this point. Again, it's way too early to speculate motive. I know there's a lot out there on social media, but I ask people just to give us a little bit of patience while we work through a really complex scene.
Okay, let's bring in NewsNation Law and Justice contributor Jennifer Coffindaffer, also a former FBI special agent. Jennifer, thanks for joining us. I know you've been following this news along with us. What are your initial thoughts? What are you learning about what's happening right now?
Well, Brooke, my initial thoughts are this is actually a terroristic event because we have video that is readily available to see that it specifically was religious in nature. And also, Brooke, the FBI called it a terrorist attack because they have evaluated this footage, and I think they're speaking very strongly on the issue.
Yeah, to your point, the FBI so far has called this a terror attack. Local authorities, though, are not going that far. They were asked point blank whether or not this was. They're not ready to categorize it as that just yet. But in your personal, experience, what classifies an event as a terror attack?
Well, anytime you have an event where it's supposed to cause terror in that community and it is motivated specifically by a religious situation or by the motive of politics, something like that, those are the two ingredients that would lead you to believe this is a terroristic event. Categorize it that way.
As I mentioned, there was just that press conference not too long ago with local authorities there in Boulder, Colorado. Our reporter on the scene asked again, of course, whether or not this was a terror attack. They also were asking a lot of questions about a group that was out there. I think, as we mentioned off the top here, there was a group of pro-Israeli people. The local authorities didn't want to go so far as call them protesters, but we're really asking about a motive here in this case. Here's what the police chief had to say. We'll talk on the other side.
There was a group of pro-Israel people that were there in a peaceful demonstration. I wouldn't even call it a protest. I believe that happens frequently down here. They were there in that area. We are looking and actively interviewing victims and witnesses to determine if that group was targeted or others, and we just don't have those answers yet. Those are things we hope to be able to provide you later this evening.
Still, Jennifer, as of right now, we're starting to get some statements from the Boulder Jewish community talking about the group of people that were out there. Again, we're trying our best to not speculate on a motive here, but given the details that we are getting so far, how are you interpreting this?
Well, I'm just interpreting it as an individual who essentially incited the individuals that were pro-Israeli there and made comments that absolutely were related to his religious belief and being anti-Israel, if you will, and then flinging or throwing these Molotov cocktails on them and then lighting that on fire. To me, that's a terroristic event by definition.
As of right now, local authorities are telling people to avoid this area. They say they do have a suspect in custody. They say he's at the hospital right now. We don't have his information yet. We're still waiting on that. But they're saying that this area in Boulder, it's a pretty large section, still very much blocked off. It's not safe as of right now. They're looking into a possible car that might be involved. We've just learned from our reporter on the scene that there are police canines that are out there. Walk us through some of the steps that they're taking right now to try and secure that scene.
Right, books. Specifically, they're looking for secondary devices. They're making sure there was nothing else out there or planted, other Molotov cocktails that he might have had, or other IEDs, improvised explosive devices. They also want to make sure that the vehicle he arrived in is safe, that it wasn't set on some sort of detonation device. I mean, when you look at this individual and the video that I saw of him doing this, this wasn't a sophisticated operation by any means, but it did cause a lot of terror. There were young people, children in that crowd, and so it's very, very concerning.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.